Hi, I'm Ragnar. I'm today in Kiev Fortress making interview with one of the soldiers, which basically we are going to help, giving his unit a pickup truck. And we talk about how was his life before the war, what has been basically going on and how you turn into the soldier. And yeah, so please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Vlad. I am from the 3rd Assault Brigade, especially from the Air Defense Battalion, where I serve as the weapons or as the executive officer. That's basically it.
So tell me, Vlad, so basically, what did you do before the war? So basically, what was your job, how your life looked like?
Well, I was, before the full-scale invasion, I was a lawyer. It's like, if you can imagine a typical corporate or business lawyer who works for a law firm with large clients, it was, in a bad sense, it was a life of a white-collar guy who, is incapable of doing anything by his own hands. I'm kidding. So it's like spending almost 24 hours at the office, working with the computer, some meetings, and sometimes rarely sports and like meetings and bars, etc., something like that. I literally had no or little connection to military before the full-scale invasion. Of course, well, I had some friends who were serving, but yeah, I had nothing in common with those.
But literally, you as a lawyer, your company had international clients, like, as I understand, Coca-Cola and so on.
Yeah.
So this is also why you speak so good English, or?
Yeah, of course. Well, the law firm, when I was working at the time, it's called Radcliffe Partners. It's, the law firm focusing on working with mainly foreign clients on large investment projects. So it was like, an international bank saying, hey, we want to give like multi-million or loan to a Ukrainian company, help us with this. It's like international company saying, hey, we want to buy some business in Ukraine worth like 10, 20, like 50, or even like 200 millions. Help us. That's what I was doing.
24 February, war starts. What happened with you?
I recall, I think we all recall we all recall the first day. Well, it starts like around 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, where you hear the bombs and missiles flying around Kiev. I recall that like first I reached out to my family. I gathered them in one place. We have like a house. Well, it's in Kiev, but it's in like near the Kiev, basically. I recall that like when at around 6 a.m. my thought was, well, should I go to work or not? That's the thoughts of like a typical
office worker.
Yeah, who wants to make his career, of course. That was really most. And I actually said it out loud, and my mom was like, "Really? Are you kidding me?" Then during the first week, I actually knew that I wanted to join the army or the military, but it was really difficult because like it was a complete mess. You can imagine, like you're living in a good country, like basically nothing serious happening, and your country is hit by missiles. So it was completely messed up. I tried to reach out to several enlistment officers of the army, and all they said is that, okay, we'll put, they asked if I have any combat experience, which I obviously hadn't, and they just put me in the list. It was like A4 paper, and I just put my name, and that's it. So at that time, I understood it doesn't work. They will not call me to serve, at least in the nearest future. So at the time, while visiting various enlistment offices around Kiev. I volunteered, I tried to deliver foods and other equipment to various units around Kiev, like building fortifications around Kiev, etc. And at one day I actually saw a message in Telegram from, well, the unit which was at the time called Special Operations Regiment Azov Kiev, that they are looking for donations, and of course I did donate some money, but I also wrote to the administrator of that page, like, hey, can I actually join you? And after a quick conversation, they say, yeah, you can, just come to that location and we'll have you. That's how I joined the regiment.
So this was in the March already, or it was February?
No, I joined in the March. In March, yeah.
So basically from that moment now, which gives us like 16 months, 12 plus 4, you have been now basically part of Ukraine military.
Yeah.
And in the beginning it was, yes, you joined Azov, basically Special Operation Force Kiev. Today this is basically now the new name is Assault Brigade. Just many years of veterans, as I understand, but names are different. And then basically from that moment you started to basically, without no combat experience, turn into the soldier. How was basically first months? Did you get training proper, or you was just really helped Kiev defense without training?
Well, yeah. So once I got there, first I was assigned to a newly created at the time air defense. It was air defense battery at the time. Now it's battalion. Yeah, they carried out various trainings, tactics, firearms, medicine, like whatever you need to have to be in combat. And also we spent a lot of time actually preparing our guns for the fire, because, well, at that time I was a crew member at it's called ZU-23-2. It's like basically speaking, it's a large machine gun, like very large machine gun, who, I don't know, in the 70s was supposed to shut down airplanes, but now, of course, it doesn't work like this. It works only for UAVs, and it works also as well, the opposite infantry. Yeah, so I didn't take any direct actions, any direct combat during the Kiev campaign, which I regret, of course, but again.
But there was no time. You needed to basically, enemies on the gates, you need to basically defend the city.
Yeah, so you're in the army, you do what you're told to do, and that's it. So my first combat, yeah. And about my, again, first days there, I mean, imagine you are a white-collar guy who just enters I would say, a very professional military unit with lots of, tons of veterans who well, they had that spirit, not only combat experience from ATO or something like that. They had that spirit of warriors, I would say. Yeah, and you imagine you are a little guy who barely spent his time in gym or whatever, or doing shootings, whatever, and you see those guys, really large guys, 2 or 3 times bigger than me, with tattoos, with guns. I mean, that was really impressive. And well, I wouldn't say it was scary for me, but for many people, I think it definitely will be. Yeah, that's what I felt at the time.
And basically, then Kiev defense ended somewhere in April, when basically they pulled back the army. So did you get then training, or what happened next, you and your military career?
Yeah, well, once the Kiev campaign is done, we were supposed to move to Zaporizhia region to carry out some combat operations there. So my first combat experience I got, it was, I think, 16th of April, or somewhere around those times. Yeah, then we carried out that operation where I took place. It was, well, you know, it's like remembering, well, whatever happens to you first, that you will most likely remember it. I remember like those, and again, I at that time, I'm a private. I'm like the lowest rank position ever possible in the army. I mean, you do know, well, of course you had some trainings, but still you do know almost nothing. At least it was me at the time. And yeah, I recall, so we were supposed to carry out a long raid deep to the front line. And we were spending many hours on the marches. And first I was like, I was really tired. And second, I mean, at the time, I didn't even know what is the region I am now. So I recall like the third or second hour of shootings with the enemy, and I actually, well, where I am? And I see like some guys running around me from infantry, from like the same regiment, and I say, hey, do you know where we are? Yeah, that's how I knew it. It was like, again, it was like third hour of direct shootings and like maybe 15th hour of our march. Yeah, I also recall like how we, again, I was super tired. Everybody was tired, and at some point we were located near the bushes, and we were laying down there, me and my friend from the same crew. So, and I actually fell asleep. I fell asleep, and then I wake up and my friend tells me, hey, do you know that mines hit like 5 meters from us? I say, hey man, it's impossible. I mean, if a mine would hit like five meters from me, I mean, we wouldn't be there, we wouldn't be here. And he says, hey, look there. And I turn around and I see like really like these craters from mines. Yeah, that's what I recall from my first combat experience. Then again, we were deployed in the same Zaporizhia region and spent the rest of winter, spent the rest of spring and summer there. Well, our main, there were quite severe fights because Russians aimed at encircling Ukrainian troops located in Donbass. So you can imagine there are like large troops, many soldiers, many equipment located in Donbass. And Russians tried to encircle it from north, from Kharkiv region, and from the south, from Zaporizhia region. It was like actually the border of Zaporizhia and Donetsk region. Yeah, so quite severe fights were there at the time, and we were supposed to stop them, which we successfully did. Yeah.
Okay, but you basically so you are basically air defense, and basically you was operating quite long, basically man-bad.
Yeah.
How fast you needed to learn to use it?
Well, quite fast. Actually, well, you imagine you're at war, so you don't have enough time to properly learn everything, but you do everything as fast as possible. You understand that, okay, well, actually it took me like 1 day before my first deployment as a man-pad operator. And I recall how my guys did this. Some of them were participating in the Kiev campaign, and they also had no military experience. They came in, and the officers gave them like, hey guys, here are the man-pads. Today you have to learn how to use it. Tomorrow you will be deployed there. Yeah, that's how we were taught. Yeah, I know that's not perfect. But again, we were quite successful, and we had some good results. We destroyed air targets.
But can you say what exactly did you destroy?
Well, I think the main, well, the principle, what we are proud of the most is that we destroyed a Russian helicopter. It was Mi-24M. It was export version of Mi-24, well, very well equipped, and it was piloted by a squadron commander, by like lieutenant colonel, first class pilot, whatever. Yeah, that's what we are proud of course.
So basically, Did you shot down or your team?
No, it wasn't me, so I wasn't with demand part of me at the time. Yeah, but it was a guy from basically my team.
Ah, so your team did it.
Yeah.
Okay. But tell me, so air defense is basically originally against of helicopters and basically the planes. But now there are so much drones. Do you guys also take down the drones, or that's not your focus?
Well, manpad guys, we normally don't try to shoot down drones with this because there are like quite low chances that you will do this with manpads because for your shot with manpad to be successful, you need to the target has to be very hot. I mean, it has to be like it has to have engine, whatever, which is not the case with UAVs. But in the air defense battalion, we have a separate battery with this ZU-23-2, which is at this deployment quite successful with shooting down drones and unmanned aerial vehicles. The guys are doing a really great job. So I may be mistaken in terms of numbers, but during this deployment, they shot down around like, it's definitely more than 10, maybe like up to 20 Lancets. You know, it's
Lancets?
Yeah.
Suicide drones?
Yeah.
You can, but how you spot them? Because as I understand, now the more and more Lancets are used, and it's extremely dangerous tools which can take out anything.
Yeah.
They're super powerful, as I understand. How you detect them and how you take them out?
Well, basically, Lancets target tanks or artillery, something large.
Yes.
Yeah, they also need heat to hit the target.
Yes.
And so the tactics we use is to locate some aircraft defense crews near those potential targets. So once Lancet is going down to hit something, we spot them and destroy it.
But you have enough time because it's...
Well, you really have like seconds, maybe like up to 2 minutes. You really have seconds, but...
But how you detect them? Because I assume they're very high.
Well, they are very high, but when they are going to when they are going to hit, they are going down. So they are flying very high, but if the target is here, they are going down. And at this moment, an air defense crew need to spot them and destroy them.
And you have some device which can spot, here is the drone.
Well, we have some information from the
radars,
like intelligence guys who have the necessary like computers, machines who spot this. Sometimes you just see them by your eyes, and that's it. And
but this means that I didn't know that. This means that you need more and more air defense because there are more and more Lancet drones. I saw there was some video that they have. The Russians has started to produce suicide drones on the scale, at least, and there was not like 10, but there was hundreds of drones, which means that every day hundreds of suicide drones is used in the combat. Well,
again, that's true that we need more air defense machines, like whatever. We need everything because Russia produces more equipment. Russia produces, it's a very large country with its own production.
Yes, come on, it's a large country, and they can somehow bribe or whatever, they can take some parts in. Like world is big, there is China, there is whatever, Iran, and there are proxies.
Yeah.
So which means that they are more and more. But tell me also, like, if you think about your first combat in April, and now basically seeing this year, basically May, how has changed, like, itself combat? Because as I understand, the suicide drones wasn't the case last year. Now this is one of the most active. Do you see air defense, the combat missions by Russian side, by helicopters and planes at the same level, or they have gone down? What is biggest change for you?
Well, it's definitely not the same. So like first month, like maximum 2 months, there were like many videos where you can see like many like tens of helicopters flying to the target, and like many planes who are like flying in the Kyiv region over non-occupied territories. So Russians thought that they will conquer the air. They thought that they are the bosses here. And after a short period, like again 1-2 months, they understood it's not like this. So now for you to understand, now look, we have the front line, and Russian aviation will never cross the front line.
Absolutely, they will shut down.
Yeah. So this, of course, means a lot of much more work for us, because we need to move closer to the front line. Sometimes we go further to successfully complete our missions. Yeah, and that's it. And the point is that they don't cross the front line. They try to hit something from there, but it's, well, they are not successful. I like so many times I saw like you know, you're on your position, like fire point, waiting for something to happen, and you hear you hear like helicopters or planes, whatever, and they shot, and they target like fields with nobody on it. Like it's just useless.
Because they have to shoot it. They have to shoot. They can tell whatever shit to the commanders, but they can't return without shooting it out.
Yeah. They just, well, okay, I did it.
Yeah.
It was unsuccessful. What can I do?
No. They are telling they got Leopard, but they got tractor, for example.
Yeah.
But you have been now basically, as I understand, last so you took part of the Kherson basically counter-defensive, and you was in Donbass long time, exactly didn't know. And then basically from the November until now, you have been basically in Bakhmut.
Yeah. So well, we spent some time in the city itself, like carry out some counter-offensive operations. It was like November, December last year, and in January we got deployed one more time, this time on the outskirts of Bakhmut, so we were basically protecting the road to Bakhmut, the key supply road, which again, it was quite challenging because again, Bakhmut is again, I don't have like 10 years of military experience. I don't have much to compare, but I promise that 99% of people never saw anything close to what was happening in Bakhmut on the outskirts. It was like thousands of Russians attacking you every day, everything. So the infantry had to defend against, like, I think up to 20, sometimes more than 20 attacks per day. It's per one position. We all were exhausted physically, because again, it was winter. It very cold. And Russians, they have, I mean, almost unlimited resources, especially in terms of people. They have like 140 million people influenced by propaganda. Most of them want to fight or ready to fight, or if they are told to, they will. Yeah, again, that's what we were facing at that time. And now, well, I think now I would say the luck, but it's not the luck. It's again the state there is on our side. I mean,
because you are now actually attacking them, and you are taking territory, as I understand, some days 100 meters, some days 500 meters.
Yeah. Well, the reality is that, like, what Russians was doing there, what Russians were doing there is that they were attacking, like, again, waves of attacks every day, every like 2 hours. Like, I don't know how many Russians died there, but I'm pretty sure it's it's a very impressive number. We can't do this. We have limited resources. We value, well, again, people and soldiers is the greatest value we have for now. And we just can't do this. We can't deploy the same tactics. Mm-hmm. And again, what we need to do, we need to carefully plan what we are doing. And when we hit, we need to have some results, because again, if we have some casualties, that's not what we are looking for, because we don't have the resources they have. Mm-hmm. So Russians tried to, well, like actually for one attack, for like 1 or 2 days of assault operations, we deoccupy the territories which Russia had to conquer like for a month.
Got it. But tell me, as you was inside, and many people in the world looked, oh my God, even in US said, why Ukraine stays in Bakhmut? That Ukraine should basically give it up and build better. Did you, if you was inside and seeing this horror, thousands of soldiers attacking you, how was the morale and how was the units? Because it's mentally almost impossible to imagine what you need to get through to basically be in this mental state there, like, and see every day, as you said, 1,000 people. How was the soldiers' morale at that moment? How you get morale high and survive this craziness?
I can't say about all the soldiers, about all the brigades who were and are there, but as for my brigade, as for the Assault Brigade, again, the morale was at the fair level, so it was definitely enough to continue to keep fighting. Again, basically, we almost all of us are volunteers, so not many of us are conscripts. We are volunteers. We know why we came there. We know what we are doing there. So that's, again, sometimes life can be hard, and life in the military is almost always hard. Sometimes it's even harder. But again, you know the goal. You know what are you doing there. You know why it's for you. You know that all of us have families, friends, whatever, like pre-war life. And that's why we are doing this. We are doing this basically for our country, for our style of life. Well, we have country. Maybe, it's not the best in the world. We have like tons of problems: corruption, education, healthcare system, many problems. But let us fix it ourselves. We don't need help from there. That's our country. Again, we are all people. Sometimes we do good things, sometimes we do bad things. We have both pros and cons, but you don't want anybody to say what should you do on a daily basis. We don't want somebody to actually like to make your life as you don't want to have it. And as a country, we don't want this. Again, this is our country, and we're gonna fix it by ourselves. We're gonna have it.
So now it's June now. Clarity, intensity has gone up, and even Ukraine officially tells, hey, in Bakhmut, we moved to the attack mode. And there are clearly more activity on the Zaporozhye and so on. So, but your unit stays in Bakhmut. Do you see that this year Bakhmut will be again Ukraine?
I hope so. Well, we have chances to do this. Again, the message I need to tell, that this work, this like every meter, every attack is it's not about luck. It's about hard work of thousands of people who are there. Every evening I have a meeting with my team, and I say, okay, what can we do next? What can we improve? We are not in combat now. I mean, not on the position, not on the positions. Let's have some trainings. Let's do this. It's really hard work. It's hard work of those who are responsible for logistics. It's hard work of like volunteers like you guys who actually help us to figure out with this, because again, nobody, like I can't imagine a country who is ready, who is prepared for such intense fightings, for such an intense war. Like no country is prepared, and of course we need like help from all volunteers, both from Ukraine and outside. We appreciate any help because, again, we are fighting against like pure devil.
Totally. So as we basically wrapping up now, I have the last questions. And what will be the first thing that you will do after Ukraine will win the war?
Well, I never thought about this. I think they just sleep and beer. Yeah, that's I don't know. Like hard question. I think I will be doing nothing for some time, like literally nothing. Sleeping, hanging around. That's it. I think that many of us will be. We need to answer the question what we'll be doing next in terms of each person, in terms of like brigades, in terms of country as a whole. Yeah, but before answering this question, I would need to have some rest.
This is understandable, and I believe that new Ukraine, I assume, will be mainly rebuilt by people who is in the front now, the people who has the highest values and highest dream about new Ukraine. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
But thank you guys. Basically, one more time, this is Vlad. We are working to send his unit, new pickup truck, because as you understand now from the interview, air defense is one of the more and more important, because if you don't take care of air defense, those drones and also any attack by the helicopter or planes can make so much damage. Thank you guys. Let's keep helping Ukraine.
Thank you.